Welcome to VTR Customs from Switzerland. Since we got quite some followers abroad from around the globe, we've decided to do this final shooting of our new custom bike lineup also in English beside Swiss German, because mit Schweizerdeutsch nobody understands really. Keine Sau versteht, was ich da sage. Welcome to the English final shot of our lineup for this year's Swiss Custom Show. Let's start with our first bike, which is kind of a junior bike, our G310 GS. Here we go, that's our G310 GS called LBT, Little Boys Toys. The G310 in our area has kind of the tasty bad feeling that it's only an entrance bike. It's a very small and light and tiny bike, so we'd like to show you what you can build out of an entrance bike. G3S GS with a completely removed front section. We have cutted the whole gas tank fairings, and we have built a brand new seat, custom made. We have added a rack from a R9T, and then tail section, engine covers. We do have a special color scheme. Also the paint job, which I like particularly, is a kind of light baby blue with red. A lot of alloy parts, handmade, number plates, air intake fairings, front number plate, and an alloy front fairing. The nicest part about this bike is that's not built by an engineer or a senior mechanic from us. That's built by our apprenticeship, and finally not from the one who is in his fourth year of education. That's from our first year apprenticeship, Nico, who has built this bike, of course accompanied by us, but I like the result very much. A classy, stylish look off-road bike, very small and light. Something I'd like to show you, you'll see that further on. What you can see here is currently the smallest and street legal, even in Switzerland street legal, tail light, brake light, flashlight indicator all in one. That's street legal. The whole bike except the exhaust is street legal. That's a fully open race version. The client who will buy this bike hopefully at the show will get of course a street legal Akrapovic, which is a bit longer and bigger. But if you hear that G3S, you probably will buy it right away. So protect your ears please. That's the most loudest G3S you've ever heard. G3S GS from VTR Customs. The bike is named LBT, Little Boys Toys. So we're also known for make a little bit of fun on our bikes. That's children forbidden, so I'm not sure if children are forbidden to ride, or if you should take your children away as soon as you start your engine. Starting number 31, because it's a 310, so 31, that's his starting number. So that's our first G310 custom bike. You will see on the show SwissMoto, and probably also soon on some custom medias. Next bike in our lineup is a R9T Racer. We have a special tail fairing which actually comes from Jens von Brauch, a very well-known German customizer who started to make parts for R9T family, and that's a special tail, easy plug-and-play version. I really can say that it is plug-and-play, so you don't need to drill any new holes. It's really perfectly fitting. It comes as a kit including the tail light. You can even adjust the tail light, and it gives the 90 a very new look, a very sharpy, modern style tail section, and we have even a race seat matching the rear fairing. So we've decided to distribute those parts in Switzerland. Very nicely done, a new shape and something brand new for an R90. The same is true for the air intake cover, also from Jens von Brauch, matching the kind of modern, sharpy, edgy look from the tail section. Something I like particular is a small headlight. Comes completely with the cover, headlight set, the electronic wiring and so on. And as well from Jens is a very short front fender, also matching perfectly to the bike itself. But the bike is not called Jens because it's called Cougar, and that's the basic idea is the color scheme we have used on that bike. Our paint shop, they had a Mercury Cougar, a 70s US car in their paint shop with exactly this color. I said, wow, that's a very nice, classy, stylish, vintage color. So we have decided for this Mercury Cougar color combined with black. On the front end of the gas tank, we've decided to let the alloy out, so that's a highly polished alloy without any coating on it, so we keep it like this. And you know us that we like detail, so yes, the BMW logo is painted in the same Cougar green as the rest of the bike. Speaking about details and about Swissiness and a little bit of craziness, we said we'd like to have it shorter than a standard R90 racer, so we have decided to bring the fairing more backwards. We have cut the upside from the fairing as well as the side, and also the mounting system. Everything is much more to the rear section, which gives this bike an overall much shorter and tinier look. On top we have built on the new BMW cylinder head covers, vintage style, but if we speak vintage style, we like it to have it in real vintage style. It's a shrink coating like you would find that on old Ferraris. And the rear wheel, the wheel set, you might ask yourself, why did they put the forged wheels and not the spoke wheels? Exactly because we'd like to have this mixture of modern, sharpy, classy style, so we've decided for the forged wheel but painted it in a dark brown, and also that's you've seen many times before, that's our K&N filter solution. And then basically we have made a lot of parts in black and a lot of details, some funny small items like a little instruction of, if you like to go fast, which way you have to turn your handle on the right side. So that's our next bike, 90 racer, called Cougar. Our second 90 and third bike in the lineup, our 90 called Chiton 61. The basic idea came once we had a coffee break. We're all kids of the 80s, so we've spoken about the Formula One in the 80s. If you might remember, you've seen a Ligier Formula One team with the Chiton as key sponsor, but Chiton was written with a G, that's a cigarette brand. So that's where we came up with the idea of the basic layout and design. The colors are original from that team, and people who know us for sure, all the sponsor stickers are original from that time. Even one of the key sponsors was Elf Fuel. Beside the overall design, we have spent quite some time on very high level special parts, for example Makura HC3 brake and clutch pumps, Kineo wheels, but the biggest bulk of the investment went into the engine. What you're looking at is a more than 1300 CCM 19 engine with 136 horsepower with a torque of 145 Newton meters, and there we are exactly at the level of our latest release, the 1250 GS water boxer. This beast here runs like hell, so second gear, third gear, everything on your rear wheel, so don't forget to switch off traction control, otherwise you won't feel the incredible power. As a little detail, because this bike is fast as hell, we have also put in a quick shifter. You might see the details down there. It's a Translogic from the race factory. Goes only up and is very quick. So this engine with quick shifter, if you see this bike on an 8-mile race, you better go home. And some other details, most of you know us quite well. Of course, we make some fun out of 11. We made 12, which is the German 12. Blah blah. And at the tail section you will find a little joke I've made with the owner. I'm pretty sure you know Eau Rouge, this incredible turn in Spa-Francorchamps. Since I've raced there an 8-mile race, I know why the turn is called Eau Rouge, because there's a little river going through, which is actually really rusty red. That's why it's called red wine. So with the owner I made a little joke. I told him, look, we put on a funny joke on your bike, it belongs to a racetrack, and then he said, it's Monza. I said, no, it's more in the northern part, and so on, until we got the final solution. He never found out actually till the day we relieved or unleaved the bike for the owner. So the bike was built last autumn. This time you've seen it already on Bike X. If you're in Switzerland, that's the first time you see it in real at the SwissMoto exhibition. Bike number 390 Chiton 61. Holy shit! That's our first S1000 RR customized by VTR Customs. The reason is quite a simple one. All of you super sport guys know that we're coming out with the 2019 RR, which is a fantastic brand new bike. So we said, let's challenge that new bike with a new look. So what you see here is our customized version. It's called SSR 10. SSR because super short RR, and 10 because it's a 1000 cubic centimeters engine, but that's far too long to put it on a number plate, so it's 10, that's enough. So basically we have cutted the whole fairing underneath to give it a more light and naked and leaning forward look. Then of course we have the forged wheels, but you see a special color type. It's kind of chrome red powder coating. This is the smallest and most craziest street legal exhaust you can have in Switzerland, and we have thousands of carbon fiber, of special handmade parts. We have put the special color scheme there, but the basic look comes from the tail section. As we've seen before on the R90 Racer, that's also a Jens von Brauch product from our colleagues of Germany. It's a GFK universal or universe fixing tail section. So basically you can have this is the long version, and then you cut it and weld it yourself to make it look good at the bike, as we've seen here at this version. Carbon fiber parts I mentioned already. If you come to the front end, you will also see our Swissness. So the basic style is kind of a little bit towards your US super sport style, but your bikes are much longer, flatter, more chrome. So we've put this red chrome to get kind of a US style on it, but Swiss style is also to paint carbon fiber because we don't like to be too shiny, but we like to show a little bit that's underneath we got real carbon. So everything you see on the bike which looks like carbon fiber is real carbon fiber, so no foils and things at all. And the stunning effect for me is the overall line, a very short and forward leaning and clean double R with almost nothing. This bike, bike number 4, you can see that on our SwissMoto bike exhibition, and the good part is it's on sale. Check the price at the SwissMoto show. Thanks. Fucking fast, the sister bike from the Double R you have seen just before, and I think you can easily recognize that's a sister bike also because of the color scheme. That's also a Nardo Grey, and yes, of course, thousands of carbon fiber parts, machine parts, special covers, and so on. That's probably the most radical 4-cylinder BMW we have ever built until now. The basic idea was kind of have a racetrack style XR, and after a while the first sketches were including the XR front fairing, and after a while we said let's put it even more radical. So we've cut the whole front fairing and we have put a handmade front number plate. One of the challenges going that way is that on the main frame this is the air intake. So you are not allowed to cut anything on the key frame or on the main frame in Switzerland. So the challenge was how to make this look nice, and this is a handmade, as said, and this is fixed. It can't move, so it goes fixed, but it still has a very radical optic. And yes, that bike is not for racetrack only, that's street legal. So we have hidden our front lights underneath the front fairing plate. SuperMoto race style handlebar, and something it might ring a bell if you look to the tail section. So yes, it's true, that's the Double R 2019, the new model coming out soon. That's a tail from that bike customized to the XR frame, and it gives the bike an even more racy and radical look. And yes, then he said street legal, so it is street legal, but we have hidden the tail light, and that's the smallest tail brake flashlight you can find on the market, and yes, that's Swiss street legal. We have put on, also to get that classy SuperMoto style, Kineo wheel rims, alloy polished, and since we are Swiss we really love details. Sometimes it's almost stupid already, so to make it difficult we have put one red and one blue piece here, and then the rest is black, so to match the color scheme of the bike, but also to have details. And we also like to make fun sometimes, so you would find our usual fun on the bike at the front air intake, so don't put your children's buggy there because it's gonna be sucked in otherwise. And on the other hand the same logo. So if you look to the overall appearance, the rear swing arm, that's standard, but we have put it in chrome because we'd like to match the wheel color. And we have special seat handmade by Yves Knobel, our upholstery company. It has the SuperMoto style because we were racing 10 years long the Swiss SuperMoto Championship. So if I sit on the bike, I really feel at home like on my former SuperMoto race bike, but with a little different. That's a very powerful 4-cylinder engine, and you can chase whatever is on there on your road track uphills. So that's our second 4-cylinder custom bike called STR10, Street Tracker number 10. Finished and on sale also at the SwissMoto exhibition. Betty is definitely our top end bike for this year out of these 5 custom bikes. Some of you might know the brand Metis, that's written with M. That's back in the 60s, British off-road frame builder. Mainly they used Triumph engines, but that was a very classy line. So the idea behind this bike here is to match the Metis and Betis because it's a BMW. So that's our challenge of this year. You can easily see that gas tank, seat and tail is all built by hand out of alloy from our master alloy sheet champion Cello. That's one combination, so complete new gas tank, all made of alloy. I think if you have those Metis in mind, we've pretty much matched the overall look, but the idea was to put this in a modern and new style. So base bike is a R90 Scrambler, but we have lifted the tail and front section by 7 centimeters with Wilbur's prolonging kit. As you can see, of course, we have Kineo wheels for sure. At that time you had to have golden rims, and it's, from my opinion, a pretty much a Swiss bike, because most of the people don't see the work behind. So if you have a 90 in mind, you might remember that engine, gear and drive section is all black. So we removed the whole engine, gearbox and tail section, and then we sandblasted every single part. Metis was known for kind of nickel frames, so we have removed all the main frame and made it look like nickel. And then we'd like to have this 70 classy style also in the front, so front number plate and alloy fairing are handmade as well. And this might look a bit strange, but that's something we feel that's kind of typical 60s style, with a small light but a bigger number plate. On the handlebar we have put a motocross handlebar, and we have chosen the Magura HC1 instead of the high performance HC3, just because that's a more classy look, and the topic on this bike is, as you can easily see, a classy bike. But we'd like to build it street legal, so you've seen some of the smallest tail lights and flashlight indicators on the world, and this one we have integrated in the tail section to make it really look like a competition off-road bike. So here you see the tail light section, and yes, flashlight indicator, that's also integrated. So that's a street legal version, except exhaust system. That's a hand-built 2-in-1 downpipe and fully open Krapovic race exhaust system. We'd like to remember to the CCM 70 off-road bikes, but no, that's not strictly, that's a fully exhaust. The client liked to ride this bike on the street, so he will get a Hottech exhaust system, which have a pretty much the same classy look, a little bit higher up and a little bit bigger. Other than that, the bike is pretty high, so I'm 1.87 meters tall, and if I stand beside on the bike, it remembers me on my motocross career. I started as a young fellow with 18, starting the 500cc Swiss Championship, so the cross bikes were about the same height. Hope the client is comfortable as well, but he knows how to ride motocross bikes, so he will love this bike. A lot of alloy work, and we think a very nice and classy look, as it would come out of the 60s, but basically put it into a modern style bike, R90 Scrambler. Our fifth and last bike we like to present you. Also this one on the show, SwissMoto, and I'm very sure that you're gonna see that on different medias, print or web medias pretty soon. That's our presentation of our 5 new custom bikes for this season. For sure we will show the Spitfire on the show again. This was never seen in Switzerland, and the other bikes you have seen. Stay tuned, we will come with more custom bikes out of Switzerland. Last but not least, a bike you have almost for sure already seen in some media. That's our masterpiece, so to speak. That's our Spitfire, an alloy torpedo, so to speak. All the alloy parts are handmade by Cello here in-house, and we have raced the bike at the Sultans of Sprint 8-mile championship in the factory class, so we were supported by BMW Motorrad Munich as well, and I'm almost sure you're familiar with the details. We have original Spitfire cockpit instruments from World War II aircraft, and these 2 switches here in the cockpit is not fake. We really have a flamethrower system in the exhaust. This bike spitting fire flames like 2.5 meters long. We had even the first colleagues from the race series who were burned while making some grilled sausages on one of the races. The most common I've heard is, why is that bike called Spitfire, an English aircraft on a German bike built by Swiss customizers? So the answer, as I mentioned before, is very, very simple. It's called Spitfire because it spits fire. That's the whole story. We were supported not only by BMW Motorrad München, also by TW Steel, Son of Time watches, and we have built a special box for this special watch. They made a series of special Spitfire watches, and we, as a watch collector, you like the moment when you open the case. So the idea is the racer puts off his bike when he starts to race. Once he goes to the ceremony to get the prizes, he puts it back on his arm. The bike was raced by Amelie Moseder. She is not only looking good, she's a very fast and very radical rider. That's every custom event and race. It's really funny to watch the people. They all think she's only a model looking good on the bike, and then they say, and where is the rider? I said, you just photograph the rider because it's Amelie. They said, no way, you can't ride that bike with the lady. So thanks Amelie for racing an incredible difficult bike to ride in such a way. In Köln I was close to a heart attack because it was a 10 meters power drift with that bike. The challenge racing this bike, or particularly this engine, it's a 1200cc Boxer water-cooled engine, is the clutch we have built in from the factory. So it's an anti-hopping clutch, but with the specific construction, so it's not made of course for 8-mile racing. The challenge is we start with 5,000-6,000 RPMs, and then the moment the flag is going down, you have to go as quick as possible. But go as quick as possible means you need a very good feeling on your clutch, and this construction is only digital. It's on or off. You can only and then off you go, and that's the challenge in this 8 mile. So we phoned up the head of the Boxer engine, said, could you send us a clutch who we can start standard wise, so we don't need any anti-hopping, just a clutch we can race with a very good sense of the clutch. And he said, I'm sorry, but we don't have a clutch matching this engine from another bike. So we called up Suter Racing. Some of you know the Suter Racing company in Switzerland from Moto2 World Championship bikes. They're nearby, we know the guys quite well. They are very well known for their race clutches. I myself, I raced on the SwissMoto Championship with Suter clutches. We told them about our challenge, and they said, well, that might be a market, because 1200 water boxer engine is quite famous worldwide. So they constructed a brand new clutch, which makes a very good sense of the clutch itself. That's the prototype. This one is built in already in our 1250 GS Adventure. I've test ridden the clutch already. So as the target is, it gives you a very smooth sense on the clutch, even on the road riding, but particularly if you go off-road or racing. So the guys who are moving their bikes in pretty steep and challenging off-road, you need a clutch where you can adjust very smoothly, and that's the solution for your challenge. Brand new, and as a world premiere also on the SwissMoto, you will see the clutch itself, and if you like to test ride it, it's built in one of our GSs. So that's the story about Spitfire. First time you see the bike live in Switzerland in the final status. And second news is Suter clutch, come and see us in Zurich, Thursday to Sunday. See you then, bye.